sitting down with the paddles and floated down the shore, flying.
Yeah, I remember a nun doing that at St. Anthony's School, ringing that yeah, salvation. All right, everybody be quiet. We're going to hear the bell. Okay, ready? You hear it? That's the original bell, that bell. Warren, who's going to talk to us about the restoration of the school. I'm just going to very briefly talk a little bit about the history of the school. Very, very briefly. The first Belknap School was built about 1792 on this site. The property was given by a local family, and then it was what they call a subscriber school, and only the people who put up money for the school could send their children there. So it was not really public schooling. And that went on for a few decades, and then that building later became, after the educational reform from the 1820s, later became a public school for school district number 8. Johnson was divided as were towns all over the state of Rhode Island into districts, school districts, meaning basically that the school district was responsible for a lot of the financing of the expenses of running the school. So this was school district number 8, Belknap. That school was in place here for about 100 years. So you can imagine, by the time 1890 rolled around, the place was in pretty tough shape. So the people of the district wanted to get a new school, and they erected this school in 1892, first occupied in 1893. Very much the way it is now. There were 2 entrances. I'm sure all of you who went to school back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s remember the 2 entrances. There was 2 American Providence had 2 entrances. Girls and boys. There was girls and boys co-room. So this school, the district system ended soon after that, and this just became the Belknap School, one of the elementary schools in town. And it served as a school until about 1941, I think, was the last class here. At that point, it became, it served various roles in the area. It was kind of a neighborhood club, I guess, for a while. Is that right, Lillian? Yeah.
We had dinners here and everything from the church.
They had what?
Dinners.
Dinners and, yeah, it was kind of a neighborhood meeting house club type place. Yeah, it was tied in closely with the Belknap Church across the street. There were 4-H meetings, a very active 4-H group here in Belknap. And after the war, it became American Legion Post 92. American Legion Post 92. And it served as American Legion for many, many years, roughly until the 80s, pretty much, when the vets started dying out. And they rented it out for a while, and it was getting to be in pretty bad shape. You can stand here and look up and see the sky. The animals were living in the back of the room. They could see the sky through the walls. It was pretty tough shape. So the town signed it over to us, and we restored the exterior of the school in the early part of this decade, and with a grant from the Champion Foundation. And a few years ago, we received a state historic preservation grant, and we were able to restore the interior. Both projects done by our speaker, Lanpher.
The bell had been removed from the tower, and it had been shingled up. They put plywood over it and covered it up. You'll see more clearly as we go along. But we can go to the next one there, Dan. This is fun for me too, because I get to watch this as well.
No, go right ahead.
As you can see, the condition of the school was pretty poor. The plantwoods were pretty seedy, and we replaced the ones on the front. the roofs were totally gone. So we ended up having to go, okay?
Okay.
And then the biggest problem we had was a leak on the right side of the building. You can see the hole there below the bell tower. Okay. And on the other side, this is the kitchenette issue, right out the back here. And this was built as a kitchen for the American Legion post for serving food and so forth, washing dishes and so forth. And it was just a concrete block building. As I said, the bell had been moved from the tower and had been given away at one time back to the superintendent of schools, if I remember right, it was Moore.
We found it in the mall library.
Yeah, and it was in the mall library, and you read it to us one day, and we never took it back.
That's too sorry.
Please don't say it. Back to the mall. And as you can see, the squirrels had a wonderful time with all of the building's details. Just to give you a little information of what we had to go through here. So, going along a little further here, I ended up measuring up from pictures that you'll see further along here, an early picture, 1928, I believe, that showed the bell tower. And I ended up scaling that out so that you could actually replace the moldings and the fence around the bottom part of the bell tower. Okay? These are a little spotty here. My computer, this name is Mac, doesn't always do what I tell it to do. But this is exactly the way it looks inside. We'll probably end up going back to that, okay?
Ward?
Yep.
Excuse me. The whole room was covered with dark paneling, all the walls. So there was a suspended ceiling right down to the dark paneling. And that's why that previous. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. It's not that much. But that's what was here. Dark paneling all over the building.
Yeah. But anyway, also behind that panel, it created a draft, so being a bar, it was totally covered with cigarette smoke. There's a bell sitting in the bell tower.
How heavy is that thing?
Very.
It's not too bad. I picked it up and ran out of the library.